When I was younger, we lived in an old 19th century farmhouse. It sat on top of a hill, and other than some of the trees and the barn, there wasn't a lot around. Now, because the house sat at the highest point and was equipped with a giant lightning rod protruding from the roof, it was pretty common for our house to be struck by lightning, particularly in the electric storms that often accompanied the humid summers. Now, even though I was relatively confident we were safe, the storms always stirred within me some nerves. I can't imagine the storm that the vision in Revelation chapter 4 speaks of. Verse 5 begins, "From the throne came flashes of lightning, rumblings, and peals of thunder." For those listening and who knew the Old Testament, the language would recall God's appearance at Sinai. In Exodus 19, verse 16, we're told, "On the morning of the third day, there was thunder and lightning, with a thick cloud over the mountain and a very loud trumpet blast. Everyone in the camp trembled." Again, Exodus 20, lightning and thunder along with the trumpet sound are mentioned in verse 18. These signs go along with what scholars have come to call theophanies, or appearances of God. In John's apocalypse, reference to peals of thunder along with flashes of lightning occur at major points in the narrative. If you're familiar with Revelation, you know that it includes three series of judgments and subsequent executions of God's wrath. These come in the 7 seals, the 7 trumpets, and 7 bowls. Now, prior to the introduction of the 7th in each series, interrupting almost, comes flashes of lightning, rumbling, and peals of thunder. As if in a way it's announcing this is no accident. It is not coincidence. This is God's authoritative judgment. Now, it's interesting to note, John says these things come from the throne. It's this idiomatic way of kind of revering the Lord without saying his name or saying as much. The rainbow, as we saw last time, kind of surrounded the throne. The Father's appearance was briefly described, as we've kind of previously unpacked, but by and large, John is content to describe the one on the throne by the things that surround it and their relation to it. Such as verse 4, which I skipped over. Surrounding the throne were 24 other thrones, and seated on them were 24 elders. They were dressed in white and had crowns of gold on their heads. I admit last time I said we'd discuss their response to the one enthroned, but that's going to have to wait a little bit. In the meantime, we should say something about their identity. Now, to begin, John saw 24 other thrones on which were seated 24 other elders. And numbers are very important in the apocalypse. They don't merely indicate how many of something there were. We should also ask, what does the number mean? Now, on the one hand, we can't be overly dogmatic on the meaning of certain symbols, at least this side of Christ's return. But neither would we do well to leave all these numbers left uninterpreted. Doing so would leave a good deal of the apocalypse unexplored. So as in all interpretation of Revelation, we seek to do this in all humility. The best guess of most scholars suggests that the number 24 represents 12 and 12. 12 tribes of Israel along with the 12 apostles. Now, presented together, they signify the entire redeemed people of God. It's worth noting that their numbers are combined rather than separate when in a couple of chapters we wrestle with the question of the identity of the 144,000. Now, what about their attire? The white robes speak of Jesus' promise in Revelation chapter 3, verse 5. The one who is victorious will, like them, be dressed in white. The golden crowns represent the promise in chapter 2, verse 10, given to those who are faithful even to the point of death. Now, I know it's a lot to take in, but here's my basic point. Their identity and attire, their position, even their thrones, all of it is a reflection of their response to Jesus and the one enthroned. It's tied to the centrality and importance of Jesus in their lives. Now think about this. If eternity is going to be a reflection of the importance you placed on Jesus in this life, what do you think it's going to look like? Will your eternity evidence that he was the main thing today? I sure hope so. Have a blessed week.